So in this slide, I am going to illustrate how to create a copy constructor in Java. So, and in the next slide, I am going to illustrate how to call this copy constructor that we will create in this slide. So let us see how to do that. So a copy constructor, as I have mentioned earlier, is basically a very special type of parameterized constructor whose parameter is basically an object of the same class. So here is the copy constructor of the class named another class. So here is another class, the name of the class is another class, and so since copy constructor is also a constructor, its name is also the same as that of the class, that is another class. And on the other hand, if we, I believe you can remember that a constructor does not have any return type, so copy constructor being actually a constructor, it also does not have any return type over here. And well, as I have told, it is a special parameterized constructor. What is the speciality? The speciality is you have to pass an object of the same class as its parameter. So that's what I have done in here. So here the name of the class is another class. So I have just passed an object called C of the same class, another class. So that makes this constructor a special one, and the name is copy constructor. So that's how you can create a copy constructor. And whatever be the content of this copy constructor function, you can write it inside this opening and this closing curly brace. So that's normal for any function, and so for the copy constructor function also. Now, whenever you are passing an object of the same class inside this copy constructor, by passing it inside this copy constructor function, you are basically making the entire content of this object, means in this case the entire content of this object C inside this copy constructor function. So what does that mean? Now C is basically nothing but an object of another class, right? So C has var1, C has another double variable var2, all these things. So whenever you are passing this C as a parameter inside this copy constructor, you are making all the content, means all the variables of C inside this copy constructor. For example, the c.var1, c.var2, all these things. So what will happen now, since everything is available now, everything of C, all the contents of C is available inside this copy constructor. Now all you need to do is just a field by field copy. So what does that mean? That means copy the value of each variable of primitive data type of C to the class level variable one after another. So what I am doing, in this class there is a variable called var1 and another variable var2. So what I have done, just a field by field copy. In the first line over here, I have copied the var1 of object C into the class level variable var1. In the next line, what I am doing, the content of c.var2, that is var2 variable of the object C, I am just copying it into this class level variable var2. So after doing this, what will happen? Now the each field of C is being copied into a class level variable var2. Now what will var1 and var2? Now what will happen, whenever you will create another object of the same class, let's say the name of the class is another class, so let's say you just uh, trying to make another copy. So let's say another class. This name is C1. So let's make it copy of C. So this is C and I am making a copy of C. Something like this. And then what you need to do is, let me write it down in the next line. So new another class C. So whenever you will create another object, let's say this copy of C, what will happen is this class level variable of this copy of C's var1 and var2 will automatically get the value of this C's var1 and var2. So that's the concept of copy constructor. You just made this C available inside this copy constructor, and then you made a field by field copy. These C's variables, each variable of C are being copied into the corresponding class level variable. And what will happen then? Then whenever you will try to make another copy of that C object and you pass the actual C, it will basically copy C's var1 and var2 to copy of C's var1 and var2, and in this way basically you can make a separate copy of an object. Now everything is different. This copy of C's var1 var2 is entirely different from copy of C's entirely different from the original C's var1 and var2, as you can see in here. So that's the concept of copy constructor, and this is the concept how you can create a different copy. Then in the next video I am going to show you how to make this actual call to the copy constructor from the main function.